Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Leeds Apprenticeship Recruitment Fair 2024. My name's Simon Hewitson. I work for Leeds City Council in the Employment and Skills Service. I'm very pleased this afternoon to welcome Joanne Reynolds, who is from HSBC, who is just going to give us a quick 15-minute max talk around how to apply for apprenticeships and tips for interviewing. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Simon, and welcome this afternoon. Not the greatest day to lose my voice, but I hope you can all hear me. I'm Jo Reynolds, the Early Careers Engagement Programme Lead at HSBC, but I stand before you today as somebody who started their career 30 years ago as an apprentice. So I hope that gives you some inspiration moving forward. So, firstly, the apprenticeship world is complicated. When you're applying for university, you do it via UCAS and you know exactly the timeframes. With apprenticeships, it's down to the individual employer of when they open applications, what those processes look like, but also what qualifications they're looking for. So it is a little bit about being on your toes when applying for apprenticeships. But there is a great tool that can really help you, which is the National Apprenticeship Service website, which is called Find My Apprenticeship. Google it, it will come up with the gov.com website where you pull in what sort of apprenticeship you're looking for, location, etc. And if there isn't anything yet, they will email you once you do. So that is my top tip to find an apprenticeship, is actually join that Find My Apprenticeship. Alternatively, if you do know the employer you want to apply for, like HSBC, you would look via their website, from the employer's website, or come to careers fairs like today, where you again can register your interest, and again we can send information of when our applications open, but also invite you to different workshops and activities to help you be not just successful through the selection process, but actually help you transition from education into employment as well. Many employers do the same sort of thing. So top tip, National Apprenticeship, Find My Apprenticeship Service, and then actually register via the actual employer you're looking for as well. All employers are looking for slightly different things, but when it comes to an apprenticeship, they're not looking for you to have experience. They're looking for you to be that little bit of diamond in the rough with all that wonderful potential, which we are going to have a quick look at in a second. So things that we are looking for at HSBC, and many other organisations will be looking the same. We're not looking for you to be competent. We're not looking for you to have experience. We're going to give you all that training for you to be successful in your career. What we're looking for you is to have passion for that organisation, passion for that particular apprenticeship pathway that you can demonstrate via your interviews or online assessments, no matter what it is, to show that passion. And you can do that also by researching the organisation, but also coming to things like this tonight. HSBC, we've got an open evening tomorrow night. That shows that you're really interested in that particular area or that particular organisation. But we're looking for skills that you've been developing since the day you were born, whether that's at school, in your extracurriculars, volunteering, or also at home. Things like building relationships, you've been doing that since you started play school when you were about 2-3 years old. Being creative, that doesn't mean being able to draw, but being creative of thought, which you've demonstrated all through your schooling lives. Problem solving. Do that all the time, don't you, within whether that's doing a project in science or you're losing at football and how you're going to overcome that and work together as a team. That's another skill we're looking for. So we're looking at all these, what we call strengths from the day you were born. So don't be disheartened that you haven't got experience. That's exactly what apprenticeships are for. Those people who have got that desire and that potential for us to be able to train up to be amazing at your jobs and leaders of tomorrow. I can talk for England even with a sore throat, but I am going to give you a few tips on interview skills. Interview skills is a skill. It is something you get better at over time, so practice makes perfect. So take opportunities to do practice interviews at school and colleges, but also parents out there, please grill your young people and pretend to interview them, because the more they do it, the more second nature it will become. So practice, practice. There are online practice interviews, all sorts, that you can practice. Practice, practice, practice. Interviews should be a two-way street. It's not just about them finding out about you, but you should be finding out about the employer and the role as well, because you want to know that it's something that you want to do in an environment you want to do it in. So it should be a two-way conversation. Quite frankly, I wouldn't want to work for an organisation where it felt like an interrogation, because that's not a nurturing organisation. So it should be a two-way conversation. So, how to prepare? We've got a little saying, prepare to fail, fail to prepare. Prepare, prepare, prepare. So do your homework, have a look at that job description, find out about the apprenticeship and what that involves. What qualifications is it going to give you? How are you going to study? How long is it for? Where is it? What sort of strengths are they looking for? All this should be in the job description. You've got a great advantage over me. When I started looking for an apprenticeship 30 years ago, can you believe there wasn't a thing called the internet back then? You've got knowledge at your fingertips. Research that organisation via their own web pages. For instance, with us, you can also look on the Financial Times, or there's something called Glassdoor, which reviews employers to see if that's a good employer to work for. So research, 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 but also prepare for the actual interview. And before the morning of the interview, find out where it's going to be. What type of selection process is it going to be? And your recruiter should be able to tell you that. How long is it going to take you to get there? What do you need to take with you? i.e. your certificates, your passport. Did you know you need to take a passport to an interview? So things like that, always prepare in advance. What you're going to wear. 3 days before an interview, I get my suit out and make sure it's clean, tidy and ready to go. Polish my shoes, everything. So on the morning, all I've got to do is shower and walk out the door. So prepare, prepare, prepare. As I say, try and do as many practice interviews as you can. Depending which sector you want to apply for, some might be more casual than others once you get through the door. But look good, feel good. I never feel quite ready for an interview if I'm not in a suit, even though I don't have to wear a suit for interviews anymore. So not saying that you've got to wear a shirt and tie and whatever, but the smarter you are, you feel good, you stand taller, you feel confident. So yeah, feel good, look good as well. Also, I said at the beginning that interviews are a skill and it takes time to develop. So it's not always about the destination, i.e. whether you got that job or not, but learning from the process as you go along. Getting feedback from that employer about what you did well on and what you can improve on, because it is a learning journey. Woo, 8 minutes. Okay, so there are many, many different types of interview. So pre-screening, this can be because there's thousands of applicants and it's a way to filter down applicants. That can be a telephone interview with one of the recruitment team, online assessments, or what people really don't like is a pre-recorded video interview where you don't actually speak to a person, you just record your answers back. And then the more formal interviews, you could do group assessments. These can be weird and wonderful things. It could be a group discussion. If you're going into, say, the construction industry, it could actually be building a wall with a team of people. All sorts of weird and wonderful group assessments. You could do live video interviews, be it on Zoom, Skype, etc. Face-to-face interviews, which is you, sat opposite one or two people, or panel interviews, which usually is 3 or more people interviewing you. You don't tend to get that in apprenticeships. And people panic when they see panel interviews. Don't. You have got more chance of impressing at least one of those people if there's 4 of them. So always use it as your advantage. You've got double, if not triple, the amount of people to impress. But you prepare for these all of the same way. There are different types of interview questions. Parents in the room, you're probably used to competency-based, where they say, tell me a time when you've had to address a problem. Tell me a time that you've worked as a team. I can see some nods going on, and relate that to the job you've previously done. With apprenticeships, you can't do that because you've never worked before. So as I say, we recruit on those strengths, all those things you've been learning since the day you were born. You may also experience motivational based questions. Why do you want to come and work for us? Why is this apprenticeship important to you? Those type of things. Also values. Every employer has a set of values on their website, like many of your schools and colleges also have values. We're looking for people who naturally value our own values. So do have a look at the values on the website. So they will be based around those values. You may also get situational judgment interviews that you're with a customer, they're upset about something, blah, 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 you're given some data and you need to make an informed decision of what to do to correct the situation. You could also have technical questions. Again, don't tend to have these at apprenticeships, but as you navigate through your career, if you're going to be a doctor, they might ask you during an interview what you would do in certain situations, i.e. if a pandemic comes, what are the protocols to follow, things like that, some more technical knowledge. You get it in engineering, digital, that sort of thing. But on the whole, when you apply for apprenticeship, it will be these strength-based interviews. It won't turn over, there we are. So you might be thinking, competency-based questions are probably what you've practiced at school, your mock interviews. 99% of employers don't use these questioning for apprenticeships. We use the strength-based, which can actually really throw young people if they're not prepared. What are you good at? It's a typical strength-based question. Okay, and a lot of people struggle to actually promote themselves to say what you're good at. And it could be, I'm good at communicating with people, and give some examples of when you've communicated, whether that's playing football, looking after your younger siblings, picking them up from creche, whatever it may be. What's your biggest achievement? So think about what your biggest achievement is and how you got there and what were your stumbling points and how did you show resilience through that time. So they are very, very different. But again, get to as many events. We do them all the time. We do practice sessions on these and give out loads of hints and tips, which is more than 15 minutes. Okay, very, very quickly, STAR technique. Young people in the room, have you heard of STAR technique? I can see some young parents nodding, which is amazing. So this is how you should structure your question, your answer to keep you on track. And then you don't go waffling on about all sorts of weird and wonderful things. So basically, really listen to the question. My top tip is I actually write the question down, because that also gives me some thinking time, but it also stops me going off on a tangent, answering a completely different question. You then explain the situation you were in. So team building, I was part of the school football team, was the situation, and we were trying to be our biggest rivals. The task was, together as a team, that we needed to beat them 3-0 by improving our defence. The action I took, the only time you can be selfish is in an interview, is you research their forwards, you communicated that to the team, you organised some practice sessions and some drills, etc. And what was the result? That you beat them 4-0 and then you're on top of the table. So it's a nice way to structure your answer, and you should actually be talking to for about 1 or 2 minutes. I've got 2 minutes left. There's some quick do's and don'ts on the screen. They're there for you to read. But the biggest things to do is prepare, because if you're prepared, you're not going to be so nervous. But trust me, it is normal to be nervous, and actually it says that you want it. So don't worry about nerves. Whoever is interviewing you will take that into consideration. But if you are prepared, you're not going to have a curveball during that interview, and you know exactly what scenario you are going to say for these questions, and you'll feel far, far more confident. Last thing, be yourself. We are not looking for clones. I don't want hundreds of HSBC clones, because we value difference is one of our values. Be your true self. That's what we want to see. Whether you're an introvert, an extrovert, like football, hate football, love music, did French at A-level or did economics at A-level, we want those differences, so be yourself. Are we done? Any questions?
Thank you very much. I think we've got time just quickly if there are any quick questions. Anybody got any burning questions that they'd like to ask? No. Well, Joanne's going to be around anyway. You're on the HSBC
I'm
stand.
on the
aren't you?
HSBC stand, so come and see us, and also I can invite you. We do these for an hour and a half via Zoom, that I can give you lots and hints and tips, so come and see me, if I can speak.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
So our next session is literally about to kick off now. If you'd like to stay, our next session is about green apprenticeships. And this really transcends all sectors, every single sector. So whether you're interested in accountancy, law, medicine, medical, you name it, green apprenticeships are coming in.